What's up, friends? I love the look of leaves painted with the negative painting technique in watercolor. Now, negative painting is when you actually paint around the subject to reveal something lighter in that space. And so we're going to actually play with that today using autumn leaves. All you need is a green, an orange, and a purple, some water jars, some watercolor brushes and watercolor paper, paper towel, and an optional opaque white paint that we'll use for stems at the end. I have a sketch already finished here, and I'm going to include a traceable line drawing in the link below that you can download from Pixabay for free if you want to try this project for yourself. All right, let's get into it. So my brushes today are these brushes by Silver. This is a Silver Silk 88 size 10 ultra round brush, and this is a Silver Bell Aqua size 8. My opaque white paint is Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White. I have 2 water jars. So the 3 colors I have on my little palettes here are actually all different brands. This one here is Hooker's Green by M. Graham. This is Transparent Pyrrole Orange by Core. And this one here is Belladonna by Michael Harding. So 3 brands, 3 colors, 1 painting. Okay, so for the first layer, try to think about just laying down some colorful wet washes, and this is going to represent all of the lightest values in your painting. So if you have maybe one leaf that you want to stand out for it to be the brightest, think about that as you're laying down your first wash. I like to use all of the colors that I'm planning on using for the background in this first layer. I have a really wet, glossy surface, pre-wet with water, and I'm grabbing my transparent Pyrrole Orange first. It explodes across the paper. It's a very fast moving paint, so it's really fun to just throw down color. Just blob it in wherever you want, a few smatterings of orange here and there. You can also spread out the water to help create a light orange layer elsewhere in the painting. And then I'm going to grab my Hooker's Green. If it feels a little too dark at first, just dip in the water, remove on the paper towel, and go back in with a lighter value on your brush. Keep in mind that there's plenty of water on your paper, so you don't need to introduce any excess water through your brush. Just grab some paint from your palette, throw that on the paper, and you don't need any extra water. Sometimes you will need to water down your paint, so just dip in the water, blot on your paper towel, and go back in with a little less water in your brush. That's what I'm doing here with my Belladonna Purple. So oftentimes the first wash looks a little weird. You'll have some blooms happening, you'll have some interesting blends, but to me this is the most fun step, just laying down a few colors and starting to isolate where I want to have color groupings. You'll notice that I've largely left that top left leaf alone, and I want that one to be my brightest, lightest value in the painting. So I'm kind of carefully painting around that. Now we let that first layer completely dry, and then we're ready for layer 2. This is just going to involve doing basically the same thing except wet on dry. So we're going to mix up a couple of colors here, more of a brown using our green and orange, but really, really watery. And I'm just going to be applying wet washes of color side by side on the paper, carefully painting around any leaves that I want to leave lighter in value, especially this top left leaf right here. This is my focal point, so I'm painting around it, slowing down my pace a little more carefully as I want to avoid some of those brighter, lighter shapes. But everything else in between, I'm using pretty messy, splashy brush strokes, lots of water in my brush, and lots of paint. So I'm just alternating back and forth between green, orange, and purple, trying to keep the 3 colors separate. So if you want more vibrant colors, do rinse your brush in between before applying a new color. Otherwise, you will end up with just mud. Orange, green, and purple tend to make either grays or browns if you mix them too much. So that's why it's important to maintain purity of color if you want to have really lovely colors on there. So we're just working wet next to wet, charging these very light colors right alongside each other. Again, purple next to green. I think it just looks so beautiful. And as we finish this layer, you can really see how the one leaf I painted around completely stands out because it's now the lightest value with the sharpest edges. Let that dry all the way. Now we're moving on to our third layer. We're going to continue to intensify color and value and paint around some more leaf shapes that we want to isolate. So starting with the top left corner here, here's a fun tip for you. Pivot your board around so that you can get a better angle with the tip of your round brush on the edges of those leaves. Don't feel like you have to work at the same perspective every time. Feel the freedom to move your board around as much as you need to get the best angle on those edges. So I'm really slowing my pace here. My paint consistency is not quite as watery. I'm using more of a milky paint consistency so that this is helping me apply darker colors and values. I'm also using slightly more vibrant colors, so more pigment, less water. You'll notice how I'm carving out the shape of this leaf on the top left corner, and I'm going bolder with my green. Again, carving out a new leaf shape here at the bottom. I am roughly following the pencil lines that I put down initially, but sometimes those can get a little bit lost in these darker washes, so don't freak out if that happens. Remember that if you sketched it once, you can sketch it again. This time it's just with paint. Here I'm using bolder oranges and greens. Again, using that same technique of wet next to wet. Rather than mixing the colors on the palette, I think it's much more beautiful to allow the colors to meld next to each other or into each other on the paper. That way you can really see the purity of each pigment individually and how they interact with each other on the paper. That's one of the most amazing things about watercolor to me. Here on the right side, I'm trying to balance out some of the oranges and greens that I applied to the left. Constantly step back from your painting and check for color balance. Like here in the top right corner, I add a pop of orange because I feel like it just didn't have quite enough orange. And then I'm applying some more purple and green in the center while also carefully carving out the shape of these leaves. Really quick, if you're still struggling with just the basics of watercolor, I have a free downloadable watercolor jumpstart guide. The link is in the description below. It's a 20-page ebook. It takes you step by step through some beginner-friendly projects. The guide will help you get started with basic supplies, basic techniques, and give you some fun step-by-step projects to try for yourself. I'll leave a link for that in the description. Check that out after this video. Now we're going to start adding some details. You can use a smaller brush at this point or stick with your larger brush. If you're working with a high quality round brush like this silver silk brush, you don't even have to switch to a smaller one because it retains such a nice fine point all on its own. Here I'm adding some delicate leaf veins with my transparent pyrrole orange and then switching to a light purple, my belladonna color, and starting to add some soft details to this leaf in the middle. I want the leaves to appear as if they're almost curling downward. When they start to dry out after they fall into the ground, you'll notice that the tips of those leaves tend to start to curl, and that's what I'm trying to imitate by adding shading to the tips of the leaves. So a little bit of gray here. You can make a gray by mixing the purple and green, and make sure your values are nice and light, so really watered down paint, and keep your brush fairly dry so that you don't overload your paper with water. I'm applying a little bit more orange to the tip of the leaves for pops of color. And then on this leaf on the top left, I'm going to add a shadow underneath so that it feels like it's really standing out using my belladonna. I'm adding some more pops of orange to the leaf at the top. This is wet into wet. I did pre-wet the area before applying some color so that it softens out naturally. And as we get close to our final layer here, it's exciting because we get to start adding some dark darks. Here I'm using a stronger hooker's green mixed with a little of the purple for an earthy gray, and then charging some more of the orange next to that. The orange and the purple make a beautiful brown, and I'm carving out the shape of one more leaf. I sort of lost this in my drawing, so I just had to redraw it with my paintbrush, and then adding a few finishing leaf veins to a couple of these leaves. Now for my focal point, this leaf is still the lightest and brightest. It almost looks like the white of the paper. It's hard to believe that we actually did cover it with paint at the very beginning. But here I'm just using very pale, watery washes of purple and orange to add some texture and color and help the leaf feel more three-dimensional and curved. Notice that I've negative painted around a couple of the leaf veins, but if you have a hard time with that, don't worry, you can still use your bleed-proof white at the end. I want to add some color to this leaf without completely taking away from the fact that it's the lightest and shiniest leaf in the painting. So I'm using caution and very, very light watery values. On to our final layer. To mix a black, just mix your green and purple in a creamy consistency. This is where we get to have a lot of fun carving out the darkest shadow shapes between leaves. So you're going to work slowly and carefully, and if you want to switch to your smaller brush, I went ahead and switched to my Bell Aqua round brush size 8. You'll be amazed at how much paint you have to mix up when you're working this dark. Here we're painting distinctive shapes in between the pointed edges of our leaves. If you need to soften any edges, simply rinse and remove some of the paint from your brush, blot on your paper towel, and swipe along those dark edges that you laid down. And this will create a softer blend from dark to mid-tone to light. Take a look at the overall balance of your painting and make sure that your darks are nicely spaced. We're not looking for symmetry, just balance. So if you have one area of the painting that's really heavy on the darks, try and apply some of those on the other side of the painting as well. This is a fun opportunity to draw just a few more leaf shapes into our background. And as you have that dark paint on your small brush, you can begin to add final leaf veins and little details like stems. Here I'm adding some final leaf veins with my Belladonna color to the focal point leaf. I use a very light feathering motion of the brush, using dashed lines that aren't completely connected. I think looks more lovely even than completely solid lines. Now the last step is to add our white. Okay, so you all are going to laugh at me, but I forgot to turn my camera on while I was painting the white. So I'm just going to show you the final result right here. I used my Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White, and I just stuck with the Silver Bell Aqua smaller brush, a round brush, but you could use something even smaller. And something I did here on this stem was that I watered down the paint a little bit so it was thinner. And then I added a slightly thicker paint right here so that it appears the stem is curving up and shining on, where it's kind of curving up towards the light. I applied the paint a little bit along these leaf veins, added a stem here, added some leaf veins here, a stem here. These two spots here were already negative painted around, so I didn't have to do anything there. And then I decided to add a stem to this one, and then here in the corner to kind of create a leading line, helping move us around the painting with the direction of these stems. And this one here just sort of points us back in towards that focal point. So it was all done with intention, and I'm pretty happy with the finished piece. Thanks for joining me today. I really appreciate you watching, and have a great rest of your day. If you like my style of teaching, be sure to check out Watercolor Mastery. We have daily challenges released every single weekday for an entire calendar year that are under 30 minutes. When you're painting consistently every single day, you'll be amazed at what you can do. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon.